There are nights when you lie down and feel like you're just too tired to feel anything at all. But then a fleeting image, a strange dream, a familiar scent drifting in the dark suddenly stops your heart for just a beat. A name you haven't dared to say out loud in years, a gaze you thought you'd forgotten, a message your soul has never quite been ready to hear. You are Leo, the one who shines bright, who leads, who carries fire like it was born in your chest. But that fire was once lit by something quiet, something sacred, a mother's love, a love that doesn't need to be seen to still exist. You may have learned how to live without her standing beside you, but that doesn't mean she ever truly left. And tonight, in this stillness, something is waiting to be heard. A doorway has opened, not with your hands, but with your heart. Let me tell you a story about a sacred message from the other side. Aries, when the world outside grows too loud, when every action you take carries weight, duty, and quiet anger you've learned to hide. Sometimes you forget what truly matters, not victory, not being right, but the feeling of being loved unconditionally. And sometimes in the silence that love returns. It doesn't knock. It doesn't make a sound. It simply stands there like moonlight slipping through a window on a starless night. A memory that needs no name. A whisper not in words but in soul. Have you ever felt it, Aries? That moment you stop not because your legs are tired, but because your heart suddenly skips a beat, as if someone once walked beside you and now only your footsteps echo back. An empty chair, a name you don't dare to speak too loudly for fear the tears will come. A memory you thought was buried deep, yet rushes back when you glimpse a familiar face, soft like a breath of wind at the back of your neck, but strong enough to make you pause in the middle of life and whisper, "Mom, are you watching me?" If your heart has ever trembled from a dream so vivid you didn't want to wake up, if you felt something brush your shoulder when no one was there, then maybe you've been called from the other side. Your mother, the one who held you through fever, who steadied you when you wanted to quit, who watched every step you took in silence, she's still doing that, but no longer with her arms, with light, with intuition, with the strange coincidences of the universe. It isn't by chance that an old song plays just as you feel worn down. It isn't random when you look up at the sky and see the moon glowing soft as an embrace. And it isn't imagination when you sense a warmth in the cold no one else can feel. Aries, even if you never admit it, you've always longed for a place where you can be weak, a place to lean when faith begins to shake, a place you can return to without having to prove anything. And if there is a love that doesn't need you to be strong, doesn't need you to be perfect, it is your mother's love. She doesn't need you to understand everything. She only needs you to believe that you've never truly been alone. Their spirit still walks beside you, not with words, but with an unseen gaze, not with actions, but with quiet signs, not to control you, but to keep you safe in the moments you're about to lose your way. She won't appear in a shout. She appears as unexpected calm in the middle of chaos, in the gentle wind through the crack of a door, in the pause when you stare into a small flame and sigh, and suddenly your heart softens. That love doesn't vanish when the body leaves. It only changes form. And if you listen deeply enough, believe strongly enough, and open wide enough, you will see she's never left you. And if you stay still long enough, you'll begin to realize that light is leading you somewhere few have ever stepped, where souls that love never die, where hidden messages rise to speak, and where your heart will learn to hear the unspoken calls coming from your mother herself. Life teaches you how to get back up fast. It teaches you to keep going even when the tears never had a chance to fall. But there's always a part of you, quiet, hidden, untouched, that still carries something left unhealed, a place no one sees, a longing without a name, an old fire once warm, once burning, once everything, now just a flicker glowing like ashes in the dark. To the world you appear strong, determined, the one who leads, the fire starter, but if someone ever reached beneath the surface, they'd find a child, still standing in the doorway of an old kitchen, waiting for a mother's voice to call them home. Your mother's love never disappeared. It only shifted into something your eyes can no longer see, like moonlight in the night, like a quiet warmth holding you up when you're too tired to move, like a breeze gently opening a door you thought you'd closed forever. Every time a familiar song plays in the crowd, every time your spine tingles and you don't know why, every dream that takes you back to the old house where she stood by the window, that's her, touching you, gently, like a hug made of light. In astrology, the moon represents the mother, and you as Aries carry the sun. You were born to move forward, to act, to conquer, but even warriors need to be held. Even fire needs to be softened by moonlight, not to be put out but to be preserved. Her love was never loud like thunder, never blinding like the sun. It flowed like a quiet stream, steady, constant, enduring. When you're breaking apart and no one notices, when you're exhausted from a life you built on your own shoulders, when you smile for the world but ache inside for someone to ask, "Are you okay?" That's when she's there, not with words but with presence, not with actions but in the sacred silence where you are finally allowed to just be. Sometimes her love finds you in the smallest things, a stranger's unexpected kindness, a glance from someone that suddenly takes your breath away, a beam of sunlight at the exact moment you were about to fall apart. They're not accidents. They're the quiet ways she still lifts you, not with hands, but with tiny miracles only your heart can truly feel. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to prove it. You just need to be still and trust. Her love doesn't ask you to be perfect, doesn't expect you to stay strong all the time, doesn't shame you for breaking. It simply says, "You are still my child, no matter where you are, no matter where I am." If you've ever felt something hold you back from the edge, even when everything around you was falling apart, maybe, just maybe, you were being loved without knowing it. She doesn't need to be here to protect you. She only needs you to live, and to know you are worthy of love, of forgiveness, of freedom. Every step you take, every choice you make, every time you decide to keep going instead of giving up, that's her love passing through you, not with words, not with deeds, but with light, quiet, enduring, eternal. And when that light touches your heart, it carries a message that's been waiting a long time to be spoken, not just for your soul, but for the path ahead, where she now reaches out to guide you through the dark, toward the place where destiny has already whispered your name. There are nights when you sit alone in the dark, hearing nothing but the drumbeat of your own heart echoing in the silence. The world outside keeps moving, cars rush past, life keeps pulsing forward. But in that one quiet moment, you are simply a soul searching for something you can't name. A soft breeze shifts the curtain. A memory stirs uninvited, unplanned. And then a voice rises not in sound but in spirit, clearer than anything you've ever heard. "My child, I'm here. I never left you. And there's something I need you to know. This message isn't here to scare you but to set you free. Like a ray of light slipping through the crack of a dark room, it gently reaches into every corner you've tried to hide. It demands nothing. It pushes nothing. It simply places a key in your hand, the key to a door you've kept shut for far too long. Behind that door are 3 layers of meaning, 3 chambers of healing, 3 heartbeats from your mother's spirit still echoing by your side. The first is release. She knows what you've been through more than anyone else. She understands the sharp edges of your pain. She sees how fiercely you hold on, how forgiveness doesn't come easily, especially when the wounds came from the place you once called home. She knows you've been gripping shards of glass, letting them cut deeper every day you refuse to let go. But she whispers now, forgiveness isn't surrender. It's not forgetting, it's freedom. Each day you carry anger, you lock yourself inside a burning room. You feed the fire with your own heart. Let it go, she says. Past was never meant to chain you. You were born to fly, not to be held down. Letting go isn't weakness, it's how you open the door and reclaim your wings. The second is faith. You are standing at the greatest crossroads of your life. Maybe in your career, your relationships, or a soul calling you felt but never dared to name. These changes don't arrive gently, not like a summer rain. They come like a quiet storm, sweeping away what no longer fits, forcing you to stop, to look deeper. She sees the tremble in you. She knows you're scared, but she also knows you were born to walk through fire, to rise from the ashes. Under the sky, Saturn and Pluto are drawing a new path for you. And this time, you're not meant to charge forward like a reckless arrow, but to walk slowly, guided not by impulse, but by the quiet trust within. She wants you to know you are not alone in the dark. There are unseen currents lifting you, guiding you, even when you cannot yet see the shore. And the third is protection. Think back. How many times have you survived? When it felt like you wouldn't, how many storms have passed, yet you remain standing? How many moments when you were on the verge of falling did something rise in you just in time to keep you going? That wasn't coincidence. That was your mother, not memory, not imagination. Her soul still guarding you, her love never gone. She's shifted form, from hands you could hold to a light you can feel. She stands with you still, a glowing cloak wrapped around your shoulders. When the world feels too heavy, when you dream of her, when an old song finds you on the street, when the scent of childhood cooking fills the air, that's her, whispering, "You are not alone, I'm still here," as your silent companion, as the mirror that shows you peace when the world does not. This message isn't just to comfort you, it's a map, a sacred guide for the road ahead. Let go of the anger so your heart can breathe, so your feet are no longer chained by what once was. Trust the path even when the shape is unclear, even when only darkness and the beat of your own heart guide you forward, and feel the protection so fear no longer rules you, so you can open your arms to receive what's coming. This is the gift she offers, the gift of release, of trust, of peace. In a world that moves too fast, where hearts shut down to avoid breaking, where invisible wounds are carried in silence, this message becomes light, not just for you, but for others too, because you are not only living for yourself anymore, you are carrying her message into the world. And every time you choose to rise instead of fall, every choice you make from love, not fear, every step you take in light, you remind someone else out there that love is stronger than fear, that light is greater than the dark. And in that quiet moment, when you take a deep breath and feel it fill every corner of your being, you'll realize this message isn't closing a chapter, it's opening a new space, where you don't just hear her voice, but finally, you hear your own soul, leading you gently toward the light that's been waiting all along. There are moments you think are ordinary, yet they're really small doorways where your mother's spirit still walks quietly into your life, soft as the wind. No spotlight, no loud sound. Real love never needs to prove itself, it only needs to be recognized. You've learned to live with logic, to explain everything by facts, by action, by results. You trust what you can touch, measure, and see. But the world where your mother now exists does not run on logic. It runs on energy, on things so subtle you can only feel them, never measure them. And she is speaking to you every day, not with words, but through small signals that rise from deeper layers of reality. Layers you reach only when your heart slows down and goes quiet. Dream's the place where memory and spirit meet. Some nights you dream of her, see every line at the corner of her eyes, hear her soft breathing, feel her familiar hand squeeze yours. You wake, tears sliding silently onto your pillow, and don't know why. That's not just a dream, it's a meeting, a reunion in a space where there is no body, no time, no physics, sense invisible yet able to awaken an entire world of memory. One tired afternoon you suddenly smell the old perfume she used to wear in a room where no one else stands, or the scent of warm soup she once made, though no one's touched the stove. Memory rises clear as yesterday. That's not an illusion. That's your mother saying, "I'm still here, still where you need me." Music, the soul of time. An old melody plays just when you feel weak. A familiar lyric drifts into your ear when you're about to give up. A childhood song comes from a cafe you've never been to. That's not random. That's a ticket back to safety, back to the place you belonged, back to where her voice once sang you to sleep. Numbers, the code of the universe. You see 11, 11 on the clock, 4:44 on a receipt, 2:22 on a passing license plate. Every time you question yourself, every time you lose direction, the numbers appear like a quiet whisper. You are not lost. I'm walking with you. When you're too busy to stop, too rational to believe, too hurt to open, you miss all of it. But when you pause for a moment, slow your heart for a moment, you see. Those small things are the language your mother's soul is using to speak to you. Not loud but powerful, not obvious but real, not demanding but steady. Her love doesn't need proof. It only needs your trust. Trust that you are worthy of being loved. Trust that you are not alone. Trust that sometimes what you cannot see is the most real of all. Trust that love never dies, it only changes form. When you open your heart to these signs, your life begins to shift, not in flashy ways, but in quiet ways. You stop feeling abandoned in the dark. You start feeling guided by the gentlest light. You begin to believe in small miracles, not because you're naive, but because you've touched a deeper layer of truth. And the greatest miracle is not the dream of her face, not the scent, not the numbers. The greatest miracle is that for the first time in years, you know she never left you. You are no longer alone on this journey. Someone is still sending messages through each breath of the universe, just to let you know you are still loved, still protected, and still on the right path. These signs stop being strange once your heart learns to listen with feeling instead of logic. And in that moment, something begins to happen. Not just a connection with your mother, but a quiet transformation inside you, a new instinct awakening, a deeper layer opening, where you begin to see not only her presence, but also the light inside yourself. The pain of losing a mother is unlike any other pain. It doesn't explode like a storm. It lingers quietly, like a small cut that keeps slicing deeper, not drawing blood, but bleeding you slowly, day after day. Each time you walk through an empty room, each time your hand touches something she once held, each unconscious sigh in a windy afternoon, all of it reminds you that the person who loved you most in this world has gone, and there is nothing you could do to hold her back. This pain doesn't need anyone's proof. It lives in every breath, in every empty space, in the silence that stretches on without anyone calling your name the way she once did. You were born to be strong, to lead, to fight, but no one ever taught you how to carry a loss that has no end date. People will tell you time heals, but they don't know. Some wounds don't heal because they don't bleed. They simply stay there like a part of you, and your mother knows that. But she also knows something else. You weren't born to live forever inside loss. You were born to keep moving, not as someone broken by grief, but as someone who understands grief is a sacred part of the journey. Every time you make it through a hard day, every time you show kindness to someone who's falling apart, every time you sit quietly and truly listen to another soul, you're turning pain into strength. And you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it to continue your mother's story. Not everyone gets the chance to carry forward a soul that has crossed over. But you do, because you don't just carry your mother's blood. You carry her spirit, her heart, her light. It shows in how you care for others, in how you protect those who are weaker, in how you dare to live honestly knowing life isn't always easy. You are a warrior, but not a warrior of hate or anger, a warrior of light. And that light was born from pain, not to burn you down, but to shine the way for others. Your mother knows how often that pain makes you fall silent, but she also sees inside that silence something miraculous is growing, compassion, understanding, and the belief that goodness still exists. My child, you are not walking alone. She wants to whisper that into your heart, not to soothe you, but to remind you that each time you choose forgiveness, choose love, choose to rise, you're taking the steps she didn't finish. Every mother wants her child to be happy, but not the kind of happiness that hides from truth, the kind that's brave enough to carry the wound and still walk with an open heart. Her love is no longer in her arms, but it's still here like a river under dry earth, quiet, steady, never disappearing. When you use your own experience to light the way for someone else, when you hold lost souls with genuine empathy, when you dare to tell your story without being ashamed of your tenderness, that's when you're writing the unfinished pages of her life. You don't have to be grand. You don't have to prove anything. Just live from the light inside you. Live so that when someone meets you, they feel calmer, stronger, a little lighter. That is enough. That is how you continue your mother's legacy in the most beautiful way, by turning pain into power. And in the moment you take a deep breath and let your heart grow still, you'll realize that strength was never something you had to find outside yourself. It was the gift your mother left inside you long ago, waiting for the day you'd open it, like a hidden ember rising in the night. And when that ember glows, new doors begin to open, where your mother's spirit is waiting to touch you again, through signs no one else would expect. One day, you'll pause right in the middle of your busy life, in a world that swept you far from what once mattered, and you'll realize love never left. It doesn't live in things you can touch. It doesn't need a form to exist. True love is still there, quiet, gentle, steady like breath. Your mother is no longer present in the way she used to be. She no longer cooks the meals you waited for, no longer walks through the door calling your name, no longer places her hand on your cheek when you're hurting, but she is still here. In the morning light falling through your window, calming your soul, in a leaf that drifts down at the exact moment you're thinking of something sacred, in a song that plays in a cafe you've never been to and yet feels familiar. That love never left. It simply transformed, from something visible to something that guards you silently, from a warm embrace to an invisible sense of safety, from a voice to a whisper in the wind, one you can only hear when your heart is still enough to listen. You don't need proof of love. You just need faith. Faith is a small light but strong enough to shine through even the darkest corners of your soul. And when you dare to believe your mother is still near, you'll realize she never left. She's just standing in a different frequency. One you feel not with your eyes, but with your heart. The journey of love doesn't end when someone we cherish leaves this world. It simply changes form so it can continue flowing through your life in a new way, like water, leaving the stream not to disappear but to rise, to become clouds, to fall again as rain, nourishing the thirsty earth. Your mother's love is the same. It left her arms to become light. It left the house to become a hidden shelter inside your soul. You may feel alone, but you are never truly alone. Each time you break down and still choose to rise, each time you long for comfort and no words come, but your heart softens anyway, each quiet moment where you still believe in goodness, even when the world is full of sorrow, that is love. At work, silent, steady, sacred, your mother didn't just leave memories behind. She left an energy, her own spiritual frequency, a soul code. When you live with honesty, with compassion, with a strength that doesn't harm, and a gentleness that doesn't need to explain itself, you're tuning into that same frequency. You are touching your mother's soul through your own. And that journey doesn't end with a name, a grave, or an old photo. It continues in every choice you make, in the way you live, the way you love, the way you forgive. It continues when you believe. That light is still flowing through your blood, even if the source has become invisible. You can live the rest of your life drowning in longing, or you can live as someone carrying the legacy of a love that never dies. And you know what? When you choose the second path, your mother will be more present in you than ever before, not in fading dreams, but in every breath, every word, every act of love you offer the world. No one taught you how to walk through life without her, but your mother, through a love that has taken new shape, is guiding you step by step, not with pressure, not with noise, but with steady presence, like your heart always beating even if you've never seen it, like warmth always there in your chest even if you can't hold it. And in the moment you realize that life and death are not separate, just two shores of the same flowing river, you'll finally understand. The most sacred thing is not to hold on to the one who passed, but to carry them with you, in how you see the world, in how you reach out to others, and in how you open your heart to yourself. When all the noise out there begins to fade and it's just your heartbeat and your breath, a space opens up, not dark, not bright, but like a wide, endless sky that no one's ever named. And in that silence, a voice rises, not through sound, but through a deep vibration in your chest. My love, I never left you. I still whisper your name in your dreams. I still walk ahead of you when you're afraid, and I will always be the quiet place you can come home to. It's not a sentence, not a whisper, but a current of energy clearer than any word you've ever heard. It's no longer just your mother's message. It's a part of you speaking as her, a part deep within, where memory and love intertwine, where her soul has become one with the rhythm of your heart. And the moment you feel that, you understand you are not alone. You were never alone. From your very first cry to every choice you've made, big or small, she's been there, quietly clearing the path, blocking the winds so you could walk as your true self. Strong or tender, it didn't matter. Maybe you felt her presence before, in a dream so vivid it lingered all day, in a song playing at the exact moment your heart was breaking. In the middle of a crowded street, when a familiar scent stopped you in your tracks. Don't doubt those moments. Don't brush them away. Don't call it coincidence. That is how love bridges the unseen. That is the language of the soul, a language that doesn't need sound to be heard. Write it down, call her name like a letter to the invisible, so your own heart can trace the river of memory, and her soul can find a path back to you. When you write, you're not just holding on to a memory, you're opening a channel between two worlds where messages don't disappear, and love returns through ink, through breath, through heartbeat. Each word you write is a small candle in the dark. Each time you speak her name is a bridge of light, and the more light you call in, the more you'll realize you're not in a room of loneliness. You're in a space held by love, a love that never goes out. Your mother wants you to know what she left you with is not just memory. To keep living fully, not to forget her, but to carry her with you, to turn longing into fuel, to warm another's heart the way she once warmed yours, to let someone look at you and see living proof that love survives death. You are not walking alone. She is still listening from a place where love never ends, where time doesn't exist, where distance doesn't matter, where every whisper, every tear, every joy that lights up your face still reaches her. And when you truly understand that, you'll stop looking at life through the eyes of loss. You'll begin to see with the eyes of someone who carries two souls, your own, and the soul of a mother who loved you without conditions. That gaze of yours will warm others. It will light their path, just as she's been lighting yours, and with every breath you take, you are continuing her story not through memories, but through presence, not through tears, but through light, not through promises, but through the life you're living now, and gently, like a breath, you'll feel a door opening, one that no longer separates here from there, just a single flow of love, where you no longer just hear your mother's last words, but hear the voice within you rising, guiding you forward into the light that's waiting.